had a Facebook Live, an impromptu feeling to share this live. Some really, really deep messages flowing through to be shared. On the back end of A Beautiful Soul, sharing some messages, and it was something that was said that evoked within me a really deep response and wanting to share some information, because where people are being led more by their mind, and to give a larger perspective to ask the question where people are living, how are they living their life? Are they living their life and basing their life decisions from their head, their heart, or an alchemy of both, and going into the back end stuff of why that happens? So going into the neuroplasticity of the brain, going into what we've learned, to then going deeper into knowing thyself. I put down suffocation of the soul. The reason being I say suffocation of the soul, because if we are stuck at the level of mind and we haven't learned to get past the level of mind, and I will go into that on a deeper perspective, then we will constantly be at the result of whatever we are consciously or unconsciously putting out into the world. Our experience of life will be based on external things around us. Now, it is suffocation of the soul, because when you ask the question, where is the soul? The soul is not in the mind. The soul, the doorway to the heart, is the doorway, the key to expressing the soul. Let's look at the level of mind first, because there's so much to share on this, and I know what it feels like to be the one suffocating on the inside out. I was so suffocating my own soul, because the way that I based my reality was from the story I was telling myself, or what I was seeing with the level of conscious awareness that I was at. And feeling in that inner conflict of being in struggle with my own mind, with my own thoughts. And this relates to so many people that are stuck in depression, anxiety, in that wrong thinking, or going on, they feel they're unable to shift. They feel stuck in their current reality where they're at. We need to work with the mind. We need to begin at the level of the mind. With the mind, to be able to move beyond that, we need to be able to learn how to bring that aspect of mind. So part of the personality, the ego, which is, by the way, part of your survival. It's part of who you are. It's part of your unique blueprint of who you came here to be. This is not about completely dissolving your ego, because if you dissolve the ego, then you become a fucking doormat for other people to walk all over. This is not about making your ego wrong, or pointing the finger, or putting it into shame or blame. This is about seeing it for what it is and learning how to walk alongside it. But first and foremost, you need to learn how to bring that aspect of the personality, the ego, the voice that's constantly in the head, the voice of limitations, the voice of you're not good enough, the voice of you're a piece of shit, whatever it is, that little voice in your head. It's about bringing that into submission with love. It's being able to teach it a way to become obedient to what you choose it to be. We cannot control anything outside of ourselves. We've heard this so many times, but do we really sit and pause with that? We cannot control anything outside of ourselves, but what we can control and learn how to come into a place of choice is to choose our thoughts. From our thoughts, when we can learn to change and choose and upgrade our thoughts, we can then create a different vibration, a different resonance around those thoughts, a different emotion, energy in motion. We then start to create a very different perception than the way that we see the world. Our perception will have a direct impact on the projection of who we're being and what we are showing to the world. Now, when you start really gaining this concept, I'm going to say it again, your perception will be the conscious or unconscious projection of what others see about you. This means we have to start taking responsibility and start looking deeper within, looking at, we have become many a tunnel vision on only seeing what they know, only seeing what they understand, only seeing as a result of what has happened in their life, only seeing the world through the eyes of the story that they tell themselves, with how the world has dealt them, or the way that their environment, what they have been exposed to. No matter your environment, no matter where you come from, we each have the human potentiality to be able to change that, to be able to change our perception. Also within the mind, we have this really intricate, juicy piece of brain matter. It's like a security officer within the mind, but it has this massive foghorn. Foghorn, is that the right word? Like mouthpiece that shouts out to the world. Exactly. Whatever you are consciously, unconsciously, good, bad, there are no fucking labels, because the universe does not respond to rightness, wrongness, good, bad. It does not know any different. It just delivers whatever that piece of your focus, your awareness is projecting to the world. Now, the way that the reticular activation system works is, say for example, if I feel the world is out to get me, if I feel that the world is out to get me, the world is a bad place, and everyone must not like me, I then go out into the world in my day, minding my own business. But then what I start to see is more examples of that exact thought, that exact belief, the way that I have chosen to see into the world. I will see that, and I will see more of it. Another great example is if you are in a relationship and you have jealousy and you are jealous, or you think that your partner is flirting, or you think that they're flirting with others, universe will give you more of it. All of a sudden, you will start seeing exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. And then what starts to happen inside the brain, with its awareness, with where it's at, is, I told you so. See, I'm getting clarification. You're always going to gain clarification on whatever that thought is. So to gain different clarification, you need to come back and you need to train yourself on a daily basis how to build strength of will and discipline within the mind. Discipline is created from habits, could be from habits, rituals, having a structure, something that you stick to each and every day, because then you are holding yourself accountable. You start creating disciplines or habits, upgraded habits that serve your well-being. It could be exercise. Mine has been, I've been going out walking every morning, power walking, doing some exercise when I'm out. Also, it could be meditation. It could be reading a book. It could be having some time by yourself. It could mean saying no to another person and being selfish and having that space for you. When we start to create these habits that build will and they strengthen discipline, then we start to feel some form of level of achievement. We start to feel good inside. It's a form of self-love. It's a form of filling up on you. Now, a lot of people walking around, life, that's what I love about life. I love the whole process of life. And this can be challenging if you're in a place where you feel you're struggling or you're really suffering right now. That life will deliver to you the messages of what is coming up from a deep, deep level. And this can be really challenging for people. It can be really challenging. It's very humbling. It's very, it takes courage to look at it, to see it. But you can reach out and you can get support to sit with another person so you can start to begin to see that you are the cause of your life. Your thoughts, what you are projecting out there to the world will be creating the reality that you experience. Now, there may be things that happen in your life that you are brought into the same path as somebody else they're also going through this. It's constantly, we're all going through it, right? Now, you may be there to show them something or vice versa, but no matter what is happening, no matter where you're at, it can all be shifted into a lesson, into a deeper insight about self, to keep coming back to self, to learn ways to rewire the neuroplasticity of your brain. So the question that my friend was saying was that we need to make decisions from the mind and not the heart. And from going on this journey to exploring the deep levels of my heart, which, by the way, I'm still exploring them. There's still much more to understand, to learn, to free fall even deeper into my own vulnerability. So it's never like, I'm fucking here, I've got it sorted. No one has it sorted. We're constantly learning. We're constantly growing and evolving. And it's not about getting to a place of completion. It's about that willingness to keep going deeper, to know thyself. When we can bring the heart and the mind into harmony, i.e., we've learned to get past the voice in the head, the critic. We've learned how to switch that aspect off or keep it entertained doing something, i.e. with the mantra meditation. If I hadn't done that, I don't know if I would still be sitting here right now, because the noise in my head was so fucking noisy, and not just one voice, like 5 voices, multiple voices all at once. So having something like that gave me the opportunity for my brain to rest, for my mind to rest, without having to try and fix something or be something or having to do all this work. It got to rest. Now, the beautiful thing is when it got to rest, then it started to drop down into deep, deep layers of the subconscious. It was there that it started to stir creativity, stir imagination, which were also keys to expressing my soul, keys to my passion, keys to unveiling my soul purpose, which were also deep, deep in the heart. They were deep, deep in the heart. And knowing where I've come from, knowing the journey that it's taken to get here right now as I sit here in this moment, and I can only talk from my own experience. When I started to feel into the heart, it was scary. It was scary. It was going into a place of the unknown, going into the darkness, going into those deepest aspects that I had protected. Many people out there are protecting their heart because they've been fucked over in business, in relationships, they've felt hurt, they've felt rejected, they feel resentment. Or there's this thing of, well, fuck you, I'm going to keep my heart safe so no one else can fuck it over or break it again. Life will keep delivering more and more lessons to give you an invitation to go into those aspects, to keep opening and keep learning that your truth actually is from the heart. The mind can block the view. Now the aspect of the mind, the ego, loves three things. It loves three things. It loves attention, affection, and acknowledgement. It will do everything that it can to get those needs met, and it will have an opinion, and it will think that it's always right. It will make judgment to what's right and what's wrong, and it plays the judge. And in life, when we move past mind or bring with deep reverence for the mind, because it is served as well, when we can start to tap into the heart, to develop wisdom of mind is not through the mind, it's through the heart. See, to develop wisdom of mind from highest aspect of self, it is beyond thinking of the mind. It's moving into a place of feeling. Bonjour, Mark. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you, Oliver. And Mulan as well, who wrote a beautiful message there. It's to tune into the heart. The heart that has been protected. That is why it has the ribs protecting it, the chest bone, the sternum. We need to move through the lower levels of energetics. The first, the second, the third energy centers, the wheels, the vortexes. We need to work through all of those to be able to penetrate, to be able to pierce the heart, to be able to open the heart into such fearlessness that there is no mind. There is a profound, deep inner knowing. There is a profound sense of you need no outside acknowledgement. There is no outside acknowledgement required. There is no permission required. There is no confirmation from anything external to you. It's that deep longing, that longingness, that deep passion of your purpose. That is the truth. That is the truth. When you awaken that, I love you too, Sister Destiny Faye. When you awaken that, it is the flame that never dives down. Inner Purusha, the inner light. I feel I'm on a mission to remind others to be a flame that lights many flames, so they remember that no matter how dark, no matter how much they go into their own depths of their pain, their suffering, their indifference, their finding their way moving into the unknown to fearlessly start to have deeper aspects of themselves revealed to themselves, so they can raise their level of consciousness, to ascend, to wake up. So they remember that flame never goes out. It burns. It is eternal. It is an eternal light within them. It is powerful to have cultivated practice, disciplined practice over years. And this is moving beyond mindfulness. This is moving beyond positive thinking. They all have an impact on the brain chemistry. They're great. They're really great places to start. They do not go deep into the subconscious, where all limiting beliefs hide out, where your source of all thought originates from. By the way, you are source. You are an expression of source in this vessel that you are being, called a human being, having this energetic, beautiful, electromagnetic experience called life. When you can bring the mind and the heart into harmony, so you are able to walk alongside and marry that aspect, your ego, to then come to a place of deeper understanding, to love, of unconditional. And when we really, really go into that place, there is no right, there is no wrong. There is lack of awareness and room for new and improved awareness to shift that beautiful soul that may be lost in their journey. To realize the only true enemy hides in the last place you will ever look, and it is not in your heart. The enemy does not hide in your heart. To go into the heart means a willingness to be seen, a willingness to get hurt, a willingness to free fall, a willingness to be vulnerable, a willingness and courage to be rejected by another, to then begin to truly, deeply understand no one can reject you. The only person that rejects you is yourself. No one can abandon you. You may have experienced something in life that gave you a deep experience into abandonment. That was in the past. Right here, right now, where you're sitting, you may be having an experience of that feeling that feels so great, it feels so raw, because you may have lost something in this moment right now, and it feels so real, it feels like then, but it's not then. You're having this experience to learn a deeper insight into self. We are really quite simple. We are really quite simple, but you know what? Society and life will tell you that it's really fucking hard. It will create a struggle around you. It will tell you, it will create words that keep you stuck. It will tell you how ways to numb out, to feel better, to avoid pain at all costs, to have the fucking band-aid, to have the magic pill to get you a certain way. But it will only be temporary. It's not really going into and addressing the cause of everything that happens in your life, which is your mind. Coming back to decisions, all these things out there, by the way, the things to numb you out, to check you out in the food industry, in the porn industry, on the things that feed off instant gratification, that feed off your pleasure centers, that feed off the mind, by the way, that then coaxes the mind in. You need this. If you don't have this, that's not going to happen. To suck you in to something, to manipulate you. Beyond that, when you go into the mind and you bring the heart mind into harmony, and you have that willingness to keep exploring the levels of your heart, from going into suffering, from not running away from discomfort, but really sitting into it and feeling it and seeing it with love and compassion of kindness. And that means to all beings involved with it. To then start to trust and have faith in an even more powerful director of the choices that you make in your life. It's not your mind, it's not your heart, it's your instinct, your inner knowing, your inner seeing. This is the stuff they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. They want you to stay in their wounds. They want you to stay in your helplessness and your hopelessness. Because when you can start moving beyond that and you walk alongside somebody that will bring up your bullshit for you, so you get to digest it, you get to feel into it, you get to absorb in it, fuck, you get to play in it. I will tell you to marinate yourself in it, to really embellish it, to marinate in all that pain, all that suffering, all that wrongness. Really feel into that. And then really start to ask yourself the question, is this the way that I'm choosing to be right now? And you get to learn how to let that shit go with ease, how to shift beyond that and start to become the powerful creator that you are. Your decisions do not happen in your mind, because you can only see to the extent that you can see, and you can only see to the extent of your conscious level of awareness in this moment here right now, which is also quite beautiful, because you can never make a wrong decision, because you will make the decision in direct proportion to what you need to learn to grow from, what you need to evolve from, or what is there as an opportunity for you to gain deeper understanding of yourself and your soul and this human experience that you are having here, right now. Your instinct and your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner seeing, your inner hearing, your inner feeling, your inner touch, your inner taste. These superpowers that we all have the potentiality to tap into. We all have the potentiality to tap into. It's all there. It's all there. We're just delayering. We're deconstructing. Everybody is fucking born enlightened. You don't get to be enlightened. You are already enlightened, but many are blocked from the view that they are being fed or the veil that they are seeing through. And you will have different levels, different layers of veil, which will block out. True seeing does not happen through the eyes. True seeing happens within the heart. Beyond the eyes. The eye, going deeper. When life is not giving you what you desire, it's giving you a message. It's giving you a message that something you are consciously or unconsciously projecting. And this is said with love and compassion. This is not about beating yourself with the hate stick or that you're a fucker, you're a twat. Even though sometimes you may feel like thinking you're a bit of a twat, because people are really slow learners And even this, even as I'm talking, some people are like, oh, yeah, turn it off. Yeah, I'm going to sit in here and talk this stuff because I've learned through experience. And when you've experienced of your soul being so fucking suffocated and stuck in your mind, and you have come out the other side, and your willingness to open that door for others to walk through with no shame, to see every soul as a beautiful, powerful creator. They've just got lost along their way. You are simply and profoundly working through the layers of bullshit, the lies that you've been fed, the story that you've told yourself, and the way that you perceive the world to be or not to be. And you can shift that reality over time, anytime you choose to step up. When you choose to step up and get out the way of your own arrogance by thinking other people's life is worse than you, and or you think you've been given a raw fucking bad deal in life, then your arrogance and your entitlement will be keeping you stuck. It will be keeping you stuck in your own chain of suffering. You will end up suffocating your soul even more. Your soul came here to be expressed. When you were born a powerful creator. And over time, from the beautiful experiences, good, bad, because they're only experiences that you have chosen before coming back. So then you could go on and be the inspirer, be the powerful messenger, and to switch on that deep burning desire within that no matter what happens, it never switches off. It never switches off. It's right in here. It's right deep in your soul. So reach out if you are feeling that you're in your mind all the time and that you're ready to shift, you're ready to go deeper. Reach out if you are looking to be challenged to dive into deeper aspects of your heart that you didn't even know were there, and you're ready to reveal them, and you're ready to explore them and celebrate them with other beautiful souls that are also opening in their raw vulnerability. You don't need to suffer in silence. Always feel you can reach out. There may be some things that I say that resonate or don't resonate, or maybe rub you up the wrong way. It's all perfect for whatever you need to hear. I remember beginning off on my journey, and I would read something or I would listen to somebody, and I would only hear a small aspect of what they were saying. I would only hear a small aspect, or I would get stuck on something that they'd said that I didn't agree with, and I would go off on this little tangent in my head, and I would miss out on everything else. So notice when that happens, and also go back and watch again. Each time we watch something, each time we read something, we gain a deeper insight into it, a deeper perspective. We are constantly upgrading that reticular activation system within our mind. It is constantly shifting and changing. And life taught me through experience. I needed to, and this goes for all of you that have been through suffering, the noise, the intensity, the brutality, or it will keep getting louder and louder and louder until you wake up. Until you wake up. It's like being slapped in your face and just picking yourself up and carrying on, but not sitting and pausing and really getting real with where you're at, what happened, and seeing a deeper perspective, perhaps. This is something that we work through, or should I take people through, because it can bring up a lot of stuff going through by yourself. To see when the same thing, if you are the same thing is showing up to you, and this happens a lot in relationships, different disguise, you think it's all great, and then boom, there it is again. It's exactly the same. You're like, oh. Start looking at where that's coming from. Start asking yourself questions. Well, what is this teaching me about what I'm actually projecting that I'm not yet aware of? And then you will start to have different things that will give you clarification of that new awareness. Awareness is consciousness, and we're working through layers and levels of consciousness and unconsciousness. But we don't just jump into graduation of picking up a degree. And many people are still going through playgroup, and that's all right. It's no, this is better, that's better. Like, get the fuck out of that. Again, that's the fucking ego head getting in the way of rightness, or having to be somewhere, or having to show up in a certain way because you think that's what's expected of you. Being okay with where you're at and beginning with where you're at, and then getting really real with it, and then learning and growing from that level of the playing field that you are currently at. Breathing. And the voices in my head after 8 years, they're still there. They're still there. They will come up, but I've made peace with them. I've made love to them. They get entertained twice a day with my meditation, and the most of the time I have is, it feels beautiful. But I do still have times where, you know, they start kicking up with noise and screaming about rightness or opinion, or wanting to point the finger and judge others, and I have to sit there. And now I have the discipline and the inner wisdom. Again, the inner wisdom is birthed through the heart, to know what's true and what's not true. What is the ego playing out, on what aspect is higher aspect of self, and knowing from that. And it's fun. I love this stuff. I feel grateful and very blessed for all the experiences that I've experienced in life. I don't see any good or any as bad. I see them as simple experiences, as deeply, or as, you know, I can hold a charge onto it and say, God, this one was bigger than that one, right? But again, that's me trying to hold on to something, rather than just seeing their experiences that were perfectly orchestrated at the right time to learn. I just saw someone doing like an angry face, like, was that an angry emoji? Which, you know, it's all good. It's all opinion. Some people may not agree with me on that. I guess I've worked a lot through forgiveness and compassion and gratitude, and moving beyond the making them wrong, of also seeing that those souls that I attracted were coming from the same resonance as myself, with, you know, they showed me exactly what I was feeling on a deep level. Those feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, and worthlessness. There's the exact vibration, very differently packaged, coming at it from a different perspective, one to overpower, to disempower another, because on the inside, they felt disempowered and they felt a need to overpower, if that makes sense. So check in with where you're at each and every moment. And when you're really tuning into another soul and you're connecting with them, notice how when you drop into your heart space, you diffuse the charge of rightness and wrongness. You diffuse the charge of maybe the opinion of the way that you see the other person, and you can learn to really understand what forgiveness, compassion, kindness, and humility really is. And it's learnt within the heart, in our deepest aspects of surrender, surrendering over to higher force, higher power, God, source, whatever you want to call it, consciousness, to know that you are safe, know that you are held, and your life is a perfect alignment, imperfectly or whatever that is, to learn a little bit more about yourself in this moment. Reach out. I'm here to support beautiful souls. The potent blueprint is flying along, and it's crazy to think we're only we're coming into week 3 on Wednesday, and already the shifts have been beautiful and humbling, and more than what I could have imagined when I created this. And sharing a really deep, vulnerable aspect from my own journey to show other souls of a way, a map, a roadmap, a map back to their own blueprint, so their own unique expression as a soul comes through from that. You know, we're not in a cookie cutter approach society. We are all very diverse and different, unique, and we come to the table with so many different things. But in the richness that and the realness of it, we learn from one another, and it continues to open myself into deeper levels of what juices my soul is to sit in space with other souls that are shifting, and we're shifting and growing together. So if there's something within your essence, your being right now, that is resonating with this, man or woman, reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's see where you're at, and let's see if this is the right fit for you. You will know in feeling, and I will also know in feeling. It may not be the right fit for some souls, and I'll be very open about that and really honest, because of where they're at. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just about really owning your own integrity. So we're kicking off with that the first week of March. I'm thinking of doing March the 1st because that day is very special to me. It's St. David's Day, and the best years of when I was growing up in my childhood were in Wales. And yeah, it's, it just feels right to do it from the 1st of March. And on that note, I'm going to end this live and love you and leave you. So have a beautiful day, and yeah, reach out. You're never alone.